Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today with you, Elena from Best Consumer. Best Consumer has invited the professional real estate investor and remodeling expert, Colby Hager. Colby has been a professional real estate investor since 2007. So, for more than 10 years ago, he started buying and renovating the houses. He has worked with the City of San Antonio's Office of Historic Preservation to keep remodels time appropriate. He also owns and manages his portfolio of residential rental properties, including single family and multifamily homes. Today, Colby will be clarifying for you, in particular, the process of home remodeling and also will give you some property management insights.
Our company buys single family and multifamily properties in Texas, mostly in San Antonio, Texas. What we do is we actually purchase houses that need work, and we put in the work. We remodel houses. We take on light remodels. We do large remodels with six-figure budgets. And then we also manage a portfolio of rental properties throughout the San Antonio area. And so doing that, we see houses that are in lower end price ranges and higher end price ranges. And so we have an idea of what it takes to remodel houses on a very strict budget, and also more pricier high end remodels as well. So we kind of have an idea of all that.
How to plan a home remodeling project so that it turns out to be successful in future. What are those essentials that a person who is going to remodel or wants to remodel should know before even starting doing that?
Yeah, it's a good question. And the reason is because a lot of people get into a remodeling project without actually knowing what they want the end product to be. And so we always recommend that people start with some type of vision board, whether that's printouts from the internet, cutouts from magazines, stocking up your Pinterest board with ideas that you like of a finished product, what you would like it to look like. So we always, that's kind of the foundation of where you want to start, is kind of have the end vision in mind. Of course, budget. That's going to be a key. You have to know not only what your budget is, but how far that budget can take you, so that you have a realistic expectation of what kind of project you can take on with your budget. And knowing where that money is going to come from is important too. A lot of people have money that they've saved, and then of course a lot of people tap into their home equity to start a remodeling project. So knowing what your budget's going to be ahead of time is going to be key, because that's going to dictate, can you totally remodel your kitchen, bathroom, living room and do an addition, or are you just going to spruce up the living room? And so you need to know that ahead of time so that you can kind of plan for that. The next thing is kind of really knowing where you want to go with your materials, in terms of, do you like tile? Do you like wood floors? Do you love granite, or do you prefer marble, and what comes with marble? So understanding kind of the materials that you love and like to work with, your budget, and what you want the end product to look like. I mean, those are some of the things that you need to consider before you ever even start the process.
Okay, well, the next question is this. Let's say that I don't want to do it on my own, and probably most of people would not dare to do a good remodeling, a solid and complicated remodeling on their own. So probably they want to go, or they're going to go out there and try to find a remodeling company. So how do I choose one? What's the process? What do I need to know? Anything you can tell our viewers about that?
Absolutely. And actually, we purchase a lot of houses where people start the remodeling process and make a mess of it. And so you're absolutely right. Picking the correct company to work with is going to be key to your success and really to your happiness with the finished product. To do that, I really think that it starts with referrals. if you know someone who has had a great success with a remodeling company or a contractor, that's exactly where you want to start, because you have some firsthand experience of what someone can expect. If you don't have a referral, the next best thing is to use reviews. Online reviews can be great, and what I really would want to see is reviews that can be coupled with actually getting to see the finished product. So it's fantastic to see that someone has a 5-star review of a remodeling company, but can you see that their refinished product? So can you see pictures, a walkthrough video? Will they let you even into their house to tour the kitchen to see what was done? If you can do that, then that's going to get you a long way. Choosing someone without seeing what their product looks like can get you into trouble. And then lastly, the interview process is going to be important. It's important that you interview lots of contractors, see lots of contractors' different work, see their style, see how they work. And then you're going to be working closely with this person or with this company. And so you're going to need to interview them to make sure that you guys align your expectations and then also mesh well together. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made together. And so you need to make sure that you guys work well together. So if I had to say the 3 main things, it's going to be referrals, and reviews, and interviews. That's going to be the key.
One question that our reviewers often sort of relate to when they are writing reviews or when they're having discussions about remodeling companies, price. How does price for the services factor into the choosing process? Is expensive always equals good? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so expensive can sometimes equal good. I don't think it always equals good. So yeah, the price can vary widely. And so I think that you need to know going in, it kind of goes back to, understanding the materials that you love and kind of having an idea about what some of those materials cost. So remodeling costs can vary from room to room. For example, a lower end kitchen could go for $15 to $30 a square foot, $60 a square foot, all the way up to $250 a square foot just on a kitchen remodel. And so knowing, the scope of work is going to be key to the price. And also too is interviewing multiple contractors, comparing multiple bids. Because while you may have one person who comes in really low and seems great and affordable, all your other bids might come in much higher. That might make you call into question somebody who is offering you a price that may seem too good to be true. Same thing on the high end. I mean, someone might come in and they might just see dollar signs when they pull into your driveway, and they may think this person's going to pay me anything I ask, and so they may ask for way too much. And then also too is you can also ask for bids to be broken down by materials and labor. And then if you do that and you get to see the cost of materials and the cost of labor, you can actually go and verify those material costs and find out, are they marking up those materials by a big amount, or is there no markup? And so these are some of the ways that you can kind of do your homework in terms of once you get a bid to make sure that your pricing is in line with what it should be.
What's the average cost of a home remodeling project?
Well, it's so difficult because and actually this question, it really does vary by geographic region. Here in Texas, so where we have a little bit less expensive labor costs and less expensive material cost, our average cost to remodel a kitchen, let's just say, might range in a standard house from $10,000 to $25,000. And then depending on the price range of the house, that could easily skyrocket up to $200,000 just on the kitchen.
One kitchen.
On
just
one,
the kitchen.
oh yeah, on one kitchen, yes, depending on the price range of the home that kitchen's going in. And so it really is difficult to say. It kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier, which was price per square foot in terms of a kitchen remodel ranges from about $60 up to $250 a foot. And I know that's a wide-ranging guideline. This is also where material choice comes in, knowing, what your material budget is. So it's so difficult to pinpoint. But if I had to say, in terms of like, if we're focusing on remodeling the kitchen, which is probably the most popular area of the house to remodel, I would say that the average remodel of a kitchen is somewhere around $20,000. And of course, that can be less or much higher.
Now, would you say that the initial price of the home or the price that the home is currently going at the market would somehow affect the price of the renovation, or those are completely two separate things?
No, I think those are related. I think that, if you have a house that's valued at $100,000 or might sell if you put it on the market today for $100,000, naturally you're not going to spend $100,000 on the kitchen. That would probably be a waste of money. You probably wouldn't even have the space to do that. So yeah, I do think that the home value, the overall value of the home does tie into the budget of the remodel. But I don't think that it's like a percentage, like, oh, well, my home's worth 200,000, so I'm going to spend 10% of the home's value. I don't think you could correlate it like that. But definitely there is a relation on how much you should spend and can spend and would spend on a home remodel related to the overall value of the house.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Colby, for that. And now a little bit of different direction we're going to take this question into. What if, okay, so I'm taking everything that you've said so far into the consideration. I don't have a referral. That's my situation. Where do I go? Like, is there a place on the internet somewhere, or would you recommend maybe looking, I don't know, like in a specific construction magazine or ads or a website if I want to find that remodeling company? If you can give me an example for a state of Texas, that's good. If there is like a countrywide place, so to speak, where I can find a company, that would be great too.
Yeah, so one service that I think most people are familiar with is going to be a service like Angie's List, where people are used to going to looking for contractor reviews. That's not my personal favorite, just because I like to get people's feedback in kind of a less of a formal setting. A lot of times, reviews that we see online, we just have to be cautious with third-party sites like that. And I like to hear from people. And so the best place that I can think of is to go into places where, and I'll just use this as an example, a flooring shop. Okay, so this works no matter if you're in Texas, no matter if you're in Alaska, no matter if you're in New York State. You can go into the place where you're going to pick out your hardwood floors, for example, and you can talk to the people there and find out from them, hey, who do your customers love to install these wood floors? Who do they love? Who's the great general contractor that you have a great account with? Who would you highly recommend? And then they can tell you that, and they can tell you why. And then it's also important, it's very important that you buttress that recommendation up with online reviews. Because if someone gives you a great recommendation and then you see terrible online reviews, you might come to find out that that person recommended their brother-in-law. So it's always important to kind of commingle your interviews, your referrals with online reviews. And so that's what I really like. I like to look at the whole picture rather than relying on just one avenue.
We have quite a number of reviews on our website about various companies, big corporations, small local kind of moms and pop stores, where people are saying that they are complaining about the situations, for instance, where they were doing something to their home, and as a result of that, they incurred a situation where the home was contaminated, or they even got sick for various reasons because the companies were using wrong materials or what have you. So it is quite an often seen issue in our reviews, and it is a pretty serious issue in general, looks like it. So my next question is this: how do people protect themselves from contamination and diseases that sometimes are unfortunately associated with the process of home remodeling?
And well, I would say it is a very serious topic, and it's something that has to be addressed. So when we're thinking about remodeling a house that we live in, that brings up some of the biggest challenges, because you're doing construction work in a space where you also live, and those two typically don't go together. And so there's a few steps that we can take to make sure that we're being as safe as possible while living in the house during construction. Some of those things have to do with sealing off the area that's being remodeled. For example, if you're remodeling a bathroom, the contractor should be familiar with using some plastic sheeting with the seal. They seal off that bathroom when they're working. They come out, they seal it back when they come out. Some of them even have as fancy as zipper doors, where they can zipper a door open and closed. Okay, so that's going to be the step number one, is sealing off the area where the construction is happening. So that way, if there are any particle irritants in the air, if there are any things that could be creating allergic reactions, for example, breathing issues, we want to make sure that we're isolating those to the areas where only the construction is happening. That way the contractors can use appropriate masking, appropriate breathing apparatuses if they need to, so that they can be safe as well, but they're not spreading those contaminants throughout the house. The other thing is during construction, we want to make sure that we're having great airflow through the house. This is especially important during anything that is involving painting. We want to have great airflow. So a good contractor is going to have proper fans, exhaust fans. They're going to open windows. They're going to want to utilize the air conditioning unit, whether it's off or on depending on what they're doing. So a good contractor is going to take those types of steps to mitigate. The other thing is it's important for everyone, the homeowner as well as the contractor, to understand the materials that they're working with. For example, houses that have older paint could have lead paint. And there's certain mitigation tactics that you use when you're dealing with lead paint. So it's important that the homeowner know, how old is their paint? Could there be lead paint present? And then it's important for the contractor to know that as well and take those things into account. That's lead paint and asbestos are where we see some of the biggest problems with sickness, contamination, and so on. So those are the things that we really want to look out for, is sealing off the area, good airflow, and then understanding what you're dealing with when it comes to remodeling your house in terms of materials and what irritants and problems could be present.
What are the most common typical mistakes that are made during the home remodeling process?
Yeah, so this actually can get interesting. So we do see a lot of mistakes that get made. People, we see a lot. Even though I do this professionally, I still make mistakes, and I'm just thinking back on some of the mistakes that I've even made. The most common mistake that we do see, though, with homeowners who aren't doing this on a regular basis, is hiring the wrong contractor. And then this goes back to some of the questions that we talked about earlier, which is how to find the right contractor. Here's the thing. When you have the wrong contractor in your house, things are going to happen that you would never believe. Incorrect materials are going to get chosen. Things are going to be left undone that you didn't know are undone. You're going to have problems behind walls after walls get sealed up. The wrong contractor can do incalculable damage to a home during a remodel. And not only that, one of the biggest mistakes, and to me one of the most egregious mistakes, is people pay contractors up front before they receive the work, and then unfortunately contractors will leave without doing the work. And so if there's one mistake that I could just caution everybody on, it would be to choose the right contractor and don't overpay before any work gets done, because that's a recipe for disaster. Is that before you start any type of remodeling project, take your time. Make sure that you're interviewing. I know that sometimes interviews with contractors can be a little nerve-wracking because you think that they might be pushy or trying to sell you something. But please take your time. move slowly and deliberately when it comes to hiring who you work with.
Thank you very much, Colby.